just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bassline move, yeah, say yeah. It's good to be alive right about now. I was dead in the water, nobody wanted me. I was old news, I went cold as cold could be. But I kept throwing on cold, trying to make that fire burn. Sometimes you gotta get scars to get what you deserve. I kept moving on, and now I'm moving up. Damn, I'm feeling blessed with all this love. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bassline move, yeah, say yeah. It's good to be alive right about now. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to this. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to this. I think I finally found my It's good to be alive right about now.
Hello and happy Friday. Do you feel like it's good to be alive? I do. I hope you do. I know Brandy was feeling it. So, happy Friday. How are we feeling? Month 1 in the books. Do you guys realize our breaking ground month was April, right? With our bullpen, you guys jumped into some interviews. Month 1 in the books. How we feeling? Feeling good.
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
Good. So I hope that you guys brought something to take notes today, because I will tell you, this is going to be a little bit of a heavy call. So after our month 1, I want us to really just take a look back and think, as we go through, we're going to go through some numbers later, right? We're going to be able to reflect. I know you guys have been really great about keeping up with your tracking. So we're going to take a look at not just this week's numbers, but we're going to take a look back at the month. And then we're also going to take a look at, are we building sustainably, or are we going to burn ourselves out, right? So nobody wants to burn out here. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is working for us. And it's always great to take that time to reflect back, whether it's on how we're meeting with clients, how we're taking care of ourselves, our relationships, how are we taking on interviews and our schedules, right? And take a look back and say, what can I do better? So very happy to have you all here. Some of my favorite faces to see. I want to pick on some people. Let's see, Miss Sandra, you are just, I know you're like, hey, hotspot, called me out. So I am calling you out. You have just been popping up in lots of conversations. I'll tell you, little birdies in my ear telling me about how great you're doing, not just with, bringing on recruits, but really showing up as a leader. So I want to just ask you, month after conference, you had a big goal of getting at least 10 people, I think it is, to conference in Denver. But also you're obviously on a mission to build out your team. So how do you feel after this past month of starting out your business and growing your team?
Oh goodness. I feel great, and I feel like it can happen. I do see, I started to say, yeah, month 1 has been a learning month, right? So it's like, I know what I've done some things good and I've done some things bad. Like a couple people I, haven't done a lot, and I realized there are ones I didn't meet, face to face on Zoom, because I was like, okay, initially, do we really need to do both if we're the ones doing it all? And yes, you do, is the answer to that question. It's a learning curve. But yeah, I feel, that 10 people at conference is still hanging over my head. I was like, I'm not gonna let Jonathan Daly win. I'm bringing 10 people to conference. But yeah, I feel good, and yeah, I do want to show up for my team, and it's kind of what no one really ever told me that I should ever get on all the calls, but I just did it naturally, and so it's kind of but I know at the same time, not everybody will do that. So so we're doing our book club, let them. So I have to kind of let them and then just lead by example. So that also includes upping my activity, because I also need some now money. So
Right.
it's a whole process getting it all to work together.
Right. That's awesome. And I love that. I think a lot of us on this call, especially if this is your first month really building, some of us like Anna and Juanetta, right? You guys have a little bit of experience trying to balance the production and the building side. And then there's others of us that literally started set up 2 weeks ago. And you're still figuring out the ropes, right? Like how to manage your time effectively, how to make sure that the time that you're spending with candidates actually makes sense. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dogs in the background. But we're going to be talking a bit about on another meeting. And can you guys hear my dogs? No.
No, we can't hear you anymore. Your voice went down. No, we can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
now we can. There you are.
I'm not sure. Maybe they were muting me out. So let me just scoot closer to the mic for a minute. So we're going to talk about some of those learning lessons, right? Some of those obstacles that we have to overcome, especially as, we're in this business, even just as a producer, as a business owner, even if you're in business doing just production by yourself, but there is a level of responsibility that comes along with having a team, right? I know Allison, when you guys, good timing, first started building, you were like, wow, now I feel like I really have to make sure that this person has everything that they need. And that is a good sign of a great leader, right? We don't want to be the type of leader that just drops our kids off, right? Hands them over to Trevor and says, here, build my team for me. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to do this for ourselves. And luckily we have a system that is duplicatable. And as you guys know, we're still building some things out, but this is something that is mostly about multiplication, right? Like if we can duplicate ourselves, then in multiples, we're going to see families help. In multiples, we're going to see agents' lives changed. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to talk about our week's numbers and our month's numbers. And I want you guys to take a look at it, because this month has been huge. You guys have been bringing in a lot of candidates, getting them started in Excel, having them sign up with, their contracting and carriers. But like Sandra said, production is now money, right? Building is for tomorrow. So you have to be committed to the long term. And that's why I think it's super important that we take this time to look back at, okay, month one, what can we do better in transformation, right? This is Sandra's call today, I think, y'all. But I want you guys to take notes. I want you guys to be serious with yourselves and actually look at what you did well. And like Sandra said, what you could do better, right? What you maybe didn't do so well. And that's what it's all about here, is we're able to make a mess and we can still succeed while we're doing that, right? So the month of April was crazy. I think you guys know, for Trevor and I, we made the transition with Bitrix. We brought on a new recruiter and a new admin, right? Marcy. So it was just a lot of change for everybody, but we still killed it. We are still one of the fastest growing agencies in Symmetry. So that is something that we should all be proud of, because it was completely a team effort. And that's where we get excited, because now we see, okay, what we've put in place and what we've created can be duplicated. And we're already seeing the multiplication factor. So now that you guys have gotten your pipeline kind of started, right? You have agents coming in. Now, when we look back at our month numbers next month, we should start seeing that multiplication factor. So with that being said, I think we're going to jump on into numbers. But before I pull up our slides, does anybody have anything they want to share? I know I gave Sandra the mic, but if you have something that you're like, this is what this month has been like for me.
I do.
Go ahead.
Sandra, I think it was Sandra, made a comment about this in the builders Telegram the other day, and I didn't mention it because I wanted to talk about it here. and I briefly talked to Trevor about this. When we run our first person through Bitrix,
Mhm.
I don't know if I just missed it or I don't. I asked Trevor, how do we know what their next notification is going to be, what their next step's going to be? And he told me, look in Bitrix. And so Allison and I went into Bitrix and we made a list. You know, this is your first notification, second, whatever. I kind of wanted to go over that as a group because I might not be the only one that is kind
Yes.
of confused on that.
Yes, so absolutely. We are actually, I'm going to move pretty swiftly through these slides. And like I said, it is going to be a little heavy because I do want you guys, this is not just going to be a Misty preaching call. I want you guys to take thorough like notes and actually apply this to your business. But I'm going to move swiftly through that presentation because that's exactly what we're going to do, Keith. We have some, like Kristen's just getting started with building. We have Seta who's still new, even Paula, and actually there's been a couple of updates with Bitrix. So you guys have probably noticed a little change over the last 24 hours. And we're going to go through and do just a little another walkthrough and answer those questions. Sound good? Everybody's like, yes, we need to know more about Bitrix. I know it is a very overwhelming system until you understand and start to navigate it. But once you get familiar with it, it makes your life so much better. So yes, we will spend the time to do that as well. Give me just a moment here. We're going to flip over to some slides. And all right, guys, can we see my screen? Can I get some thumbs up?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So welcome to the Tipton Agency Builders Call. Today we are talking about how to build sustainably and not burn ourselves out. So with that being said, make sure that you have your notes ready. We're going to jump straight into some numbers from the week. Miss Heidi staying at the top of the leaderboards, man. She is just recruiting her butt off. Let's see. She's got her camera off. Y'all know she's camera shy, but you want to hop on the mic, Heidi?
Yeah. I don't know. So actually, like, I was talking to Trevor. What I'm gonna do is for like the next week or two, really, really focus on production for that now money. So I like paused my job thing and all that. So like I said, for the next week or two, like I'm just gonna focus on the people that I've already hired and making like a ton of calls in the next 2 weeks, just so that I can get that production up. And then we'll get back into the hiring, but there's got to be some balance there. And I am not great with balance. I tend to like swing from one extreme to another before I can, figure it out. So
Yeah. Hey, I can relate to you there. I go full force at something and I can let everything else drop to the floor very easily. That is one of my bad habits. So I hear you. And that is one of the things that this business has taught me is how to be more structured, not just in business, but in my life. Right. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, we know that you need to be able to fund building too. So of course, May is a 5-week turn in. And the good news is that these people that you guys have hired and you're getting contracted, don't forget that their production counts towards your promotions too. So be taking a look at that. I know it sounds like we've got a production bug going on, which is great. So make sure that you guys are keeping your goals and your promotions right in front of you. So yes, these are our week numbers. So we have, and these are total hires. So these are people that you invited to join on the team, whether it be licensed or unlicensed, just to make things easy. Of course, you guys have, if you're a manager, have access to our tracking sheet. If you are not on that tracking sheet and you're still wondering what Bitrix is and what we're talking about here, reach out to us. Let us know that you're ready to get started building, and we will make sure that you have all of the resources that you need to get going. And then we're going to skip right into our monthly totals. So I want to take a moment just to kind of pause here. And it looks like me and Marcy might need to recount these numbers because I think this might have just been for the week, not the month. But taking a look at numbers, we did have, I think, actually 17 total ready to write. So we'll work on updated numbers next week. But like I said, you guys have killed it. It's been or I'm going to call it our breaking ground month. And still we came out of the gates doing absolutely awesome. I want to just shout out some of our rising leaders here. So you guys are building your teams. I hopped into HQ and checked some things out. And these are your teams that are, you might have somebody still in the contracting process or in Excel. So they're not counted here. These are agents that are ready to write in the field, ready to help families and help you get to your next promotion as well. So great job to Walnetta, Anna, Sandra, Heidi, Angie. You guys are doing awesome. And if you guys are not on this slide, make sure that you are next month when we hit our look back. Real quick, and like I said, I'm going to move pretty quickly through these slides so that we can hop into Bitrix. But real quick, things that you should know. If you are bringing on recruits, they have to complete a W-9 prior to being sent the Symmetry application. So if this is your first time hearing that, I know for some of you, you've heard it 10 times already and you'll hear it 10 more. But if that is your first time hearing this, the reason being is just know as a business owner and as an upline, you are responsible for fraudulent activity, debt roll-ups, etc. While that can be scary to some, it's a normal part of business. It's just like if you owned a store and somebody came in and accidentally bumped into your merchandise, right, and knocked it over and they had to file a dispute or whatever. So same thing here. If we have something like a W-9 in place, it actually protects us because then you can go back and impute that if they ever don't, pay their debt, etc. You can go and impute that as them to income. So with that being said, take the precautionary steps. Also, being a part of this agency, we are requiring it. So I will come after you. That is who TJ is. Don't make Trevor Jr. come after you for not sending in your W-9, but sending out an application. Another thing. So this has become a little bit of a hiccup here, and we are updating the handbook. And this will also translate into some of those Bitrix updates that we talked about. So agents need to be fully contracted, right? Home office approved. They need to have completed their SureLC, right? Gotten their contracts, what's available to them, signed and submitted, so that they can get their writing numbers, have E&O in place, and they're going to register for the summer's training using a Google form that Marcy put together for us. So what that means is during their live mentored training, we want them to be set up to be able to take an application out on themselves, right? To be able to get their leads and to be able to help a family. Our goal is to get them to be able to put in the activity and have the resources and access that they need to write an application in their first week, not just on themselves, but also within an appointment. So as a leader and a mentor, as their manager, right? You guys need to also make sure that you're pointing them in the right direction. Keith, I know that was one of your questions, but also make sure that they're completing the steps that they need and not getting ahead of the game, because that just creates confusion and they'll have, they'll waste time and have to go back and repeat steps. So, another reminder I want to mention to you guys, when you guys are inviting people to Excel, we are going to put this in the automation as well, but you should be instructing your candidates or your recruits to put you as their hiring manager. It's going to make tracking purposes much easier. And then also we are going to have Marcy, once Excel adds her to the report, she's going to be forwarding the daily Excel reports to you guys. So you'll be able to see who's registered, how quickly they're progressing, where they're at in their course, etc. Moving right into our next slide. So I'm going to put a quick plug for conference, but not just conference in Denver. All of these upcoming meetings that you see on the right side of my screen here, those are meetings that you guys should be leveraging while you're recruiting and promoting the opportunity, right? So if you're close to one of these areas, you should get to an event. There shouldn't be any excuse unless you have other responsibilities, but in-person events are huge for your business. For one, you're going to be able to associate with other builders and leaders. But also, this is an opportunity, just like Sandra was saying earlier, meeting on Zoom, there's a much better rate of them moving their feet than it is if you just talk with them over the phone, right? So same concept here. Get them in person. If you can't be there in person with them, plug them into somebody, either on our team or even just within Symmetry. Trevor has a lot of great connections with, top sales leaders, great builders. Plug them in with very successful people and show them that they have the opportunity to be successful too. And also make sure that if you guys are promoting Engage Conference in Denver in August, that you guys reach out to Trevor. He is working out the discount code, so I don't know if he exactly has that yet. Excuse me.
I had to submit a ticket. It's bought, it's paid for. But something was wrong with my code, so they're working on it. They said any day I should have my new code thing. It happens. They're right. Tech is great, but sometimes tech breaks. But I mean, we've bought it. I'm just, as soon as we have it, we'll have it pinned in there. Now, side note, the other thing we're going to keep a list, but we're going to start a separate list for those that want to, like, for some stuff. And here's where that are coming. Anybody that like wants to stay like that extra night, right? Like the last night, like if you're there, through Sunday, we're probably also anybody that stays Saturday, I want to know that doesn't go, like, conference ends Friday night, right? We're gonna have the big kickoff dance, everybody to do that. Saturday, we're gonna go do some stuff. Whoever stays and checks out Sunday. You don't have to stay. There's no commitment required, right? Like, you have but you can come. So like, I want to know who's coming and who wants to stay. We're going to go do something cool. I already got it planned out, like what we're going to go do. I just need to know how many people are coming.
Sounds good. So we will make sure that keep an eye out for the discount code once that is approved. And then we'll make sure we get an RSVP list for whatever might be happening Saturday. Moving right into what I wanted to talk about today, and I just want to time check myself so we have time for Bitrix. All right, get your pens and pencils ready, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move quickly through these slides, and then we're going to hop into Bitrix. So TJ is coming out today, y'all. We're going to talk about if you're building sustainably or if you are avoiding burnout. And I'm going to bring my friends, the three little pigs, here in a minute, but let's talk about a builder, right? Like we're talking about in the sense of building a house, right? Building a structure. What are some of the rookie mistakes that people make, right? They don't have a plan or a vision. They just say, okay, I'm just going to start, right? I'm just going to start calling people. I'm just going to start posting online, but I don't really know what happens when people actually answer the phone or what happens when they actually respond to my job post. So they didn't do any type of ground preparation, right? They didn't structure their schedule. They didn't lay out their workflows of when this happens, I need to do this, right? When somebody is at this point, the next step is this. So they only work when it's convenient for them, right? When it feels nice outside, when they feel like they have the energy to do it. The project probably takes forever because it's just on their own time. And they pretend to be an expert, right? Instead of asking for help, and you guys can probably already hear where I'm going with all of this. Instead of asking for help, they pretend like they know it all, and they just take the lead and follow their own course of actions. Are they using mediocre materials or solid materials that are going to last? Okay, we're going to talk more about that. Are they wasting resources and time, or are they eliminating waste and working efficiently? So the first little piggy didn't have a plan or a vision. They didn't have a schedule. They lost track of their time, wasted resources, expected it to be done for them. And then they gave up, right? So what does that look like as a builder? Well, they didn't have a plan. I kind of just said this, right? Like if you go and you post a job on Facebook and say, hey, is anybody interested in remote work? And then 500 people respond and you're like, oh, well, I don't really know what to send them. I don't know what to say to them now. So I'm just not going to respond. That's a lot of wasted resources. And I know we've all done it, right? New builders do it all the time. Like, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to post this job, and then I get so much response, I get overwhelmed that I'm just not going to touch it. I'm just, oh, this was too much for me. I'm done. I'm not going to do it. Or, hey, Trevor, I got a lot of interviews. I need you to talk to these people for me. Instead of, hey, Trevor, I need to listen in on your interviews, right? So that I can understand how you're recruiting. So the materials and the way that this piggy set up their house was not built for long-term sustainability, right? So the big bad wolf comes in, whether it be life, whether it be a debt roll up or something personal happen, right? And the wind blows and everything falls to shambles. Okay, we don't want to be first little piggy here. Now, second little piggy had a plan or had a vision, but no plan to execute, right? And they kind of dipped their toes in and said, okay, I'm going to have some interviews. I'm going to send some information and I'm going to tell people they're hired, but then I'm just going to see what they do. I'm just going to see if they follow through and if they can figure it out, right? And like, what are mediocre materials? Well, maybe people have applied to your jobs, but are you talking to them before you've sent them any information? When you're posting your jobs, have you put any pre-screening information or steps in place? You know, a lot of people are doing quick apply now, right? Half the time they're not even reading the job description. So that's why in our workflows here, we have it built out where we're resending them that information that of this is the job that you applied to. These are the videos that I want you to watch and some more information about how we do what we do, right? So that is building, that's taking the materials from being like, it could work, it could not, to yes, this person that I'm talking to knows what I'm talking to them about and is interested in the opportunity. That is a better use of my time than talking to somebody that is just in the job market, right? So also when we assume that we know what we're doing, you know, again, the hesitation of not asking. I don't know how many of you here before have built a business. Maybe you have. I know some of you have, right? But most of us have not. Prior to Symmetry, I tried. I'm not going to lie. Did something similar, right? But was it successful? Was it how I wanted it to run? No. And so I needed to ask for help from people that knew what they were doing, just like the whole Symmetry system. And here's the thing. I know you guys had a little bit of chatter about, you know, the pressure that you feel when you're talking with candidates, because you guys, and almost every person does it. But once you go into, I'm building my team, you put all the pressure back on you of, I have to be the one that knows the system, that does this, that has the experience, that's been here forever, right? And the reality is that you don't. And honestly, when you take yourself out of that position and you humble yourself and you can just have a conversation with these candidates, like some of you mentioned, right? Being able just to share your own experience. The other thing that a lot of people do is they think it's I, me, and they forget that it's we, right? And even recruiters do this. And I'm going to call Allison out. She did it even when she first started like helping with Keith, and honestly, when she did it with us a little bit. We think that it has to be us, but we are here as a team. So when somebody asks a question, right, here's how we do this, right? Okay, so what does it look like when you guys, you know, are helping families, or what does it look like? Okay, well, we have the opportunity to work when we want, and we have a system that's data and statistically driven, that if you put in this amount of activity and have this amount of resources, you should get this. And if you're not, then we have mentorship and leadership that we can go back to and decipher where the, you know, disconnect is of why you aren't getting the results you should be, right? So putting it to them as not, a lot of times, like I said, we think about specifically us. What can I offer this person? What have I done since I've been here, right? And the reality is that the people that build the best plug into the system, just like Sandra was saying earlier. You know, she wasn't told to, she just showed up on the calls. Well, I'm going to make sure everybody right now, I'm telling you, show up on the calls, right? Get plugged in and plug your people in, because guess what? Just like Trevor said the other day, we want people to be system dependent, right? Like you guys don't want to have to depend on Trevor forever. You want to learn the tools and resources that we have to be able to use them yourself and teach them to other people, so that then they can be not you dependent, system dependent, and system successful. So what does it look like for the third little piggy? So we have a blueprint here, right? And the nice thing about Symmetry, you guys have seen this, is that while yes, we have a system, you also get to flexibly work within that system, okay? Same thing within building. However, just like the first and second little piggy who pretended like they knew everything and didn't reach out to experts, right? And just tried to build it on their own, they wasted a lot of time and resources. You guys, I'm not kidding you, the longer you're here, and I know people that have been here a little while are starting, you know, not just starting to see it, they know it, is that you guys have access not just to a great system through Symmetry, but being a part of this team, and I can say this wholeheartedly, gives you access to a lot more just by having access to Trevor. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but yes, I have experience building within Symmetry for the past 5 or 6 years. Why are we the fastest growing agency and not just promoting, but also getting people ready to write, bringing in writers? Is because we're taking time to really look at what works, right? Not just our job posts, our systems here. Where is our time best spent, right? We don't want you guys burning out. If I wanted you guys to just call a bunch of people, I would send you resumes and say, hey, start calling, right? But when you're in the bullpen, what are we doing? We're making sure that they're getting pre-screened, their resume is screened. We're making sure that they're answering questions. We're making sure that they're sent more information. And if you're not a part of the bullpen, you know, these are just things that you're going to have to do manually. So yes, there is more manual labor and time involved until you have the financial investment to be able to do other things. But that's why it's even more important that you're making use of your time, right? So while you're doing everything manually, it's even more important for you to have systems in place of, okay, here's my template that I send somebody when they tell me they're interested. Here's my template for after I say, okay, you're hired. This is what I need to send them. And then also they didn't quit, right? So we've been talking about this almost the entire call. Now money, tomorrow money, right? So if you guys are committed to building, you're going to have to stick it out, especially in that groundbreaking month, or, you know, when you guys are now looking at May and saying, oh, I need to produce, you kind of realize that when you start building, what happens? Your production goes down a little bit. So now we got to find that balance and bring it back out. But not quitting before success has arrived, because you guys are already successful by putting in the activity, by achieving these goals and pushing past these personal boundaries that you guys have been. But also don't quit too early, because this is very much so a delayed gratification process, right? So you're going to put in all the work month 1, month 2, and right in month 3, when you're really going to see that explosion. If you give up here, you're not going to see what you just created. Okay. So this is your encouragement that yes, building a business is hard. Was it easy for you to come into producing and to learn the scripts and to talk with clients? No, it was uncomfortable, right? So that same feeling, now we can become familiar with the uncomfortableness. And what does that feel like? Growth, right? And that's what we're here to do, is grow as individuals, grow our teams, and grow this vision that we have and dream that we have as a unit together. So really ask yourselves this week, am I building well or am I burning out? I want you to really ask yourselves, is what you're doing sustainable? Is it time efficient? Is it productive? Or is it stupid? Let's be honest with ourselves. Okay. Because now you have a month behind you. Most of you have this past month to say, okay, here's what this looked like when I did this type of schedule or this type of activity. Okay. Now that we've gone through and you guys saw the stories of the 3 little pigs, you can't claim that you didn't know, right? Because I'm telling you now, we've put it in front of you, and now I'm challenging you to build better. Okay. So I can't wait to see what you guys do in month 2 of building. Let's see how much time we have. Yes, I got there. Okay. So heavy call very quickly, but I do want to flop over to Bitrix because this is, like I was saying, what's going to do a lot of our heavy lifting. However, be honest, if you're not using the system, it's not going to work for you. If you're not using it quickly and efficiently, you're not going to see the results that you're expecting. Okay, so let's talk about that. For those of you that are here that are not yet in our bullpen, lucky you get a little sneak preview of what tools and resources you also have access to. If you want to have that conversation, then you can talk with Trevor individually, but also know that if you're not going to invest in a system like Bitrix or another CRM to help yourself with these automations or with these steps, then as you're building out your team, make note of how many steps and how we're laying out the path for new agents as we're bringing them onto the team. And one thing that I want to mention before we even pull up Bitrix is, if you are new or even if you are seasoned, you guys should really start to get familiar, if you're not already, with the handbook. Okay, this should be your go-to place of, hey, I'm just getting started. What do I need to be doing right now? Okay, have you done pages 1 through 9? Right? This is going to save you so much time and energy. Okay. This is also going to set the tone and posture for I'm not going to do it all for you. I'm not going to answer all your questions, but I'm going to direct you in the way that you can find out. Because what do we have to do a lot of times in this business? We have to figure it out. We have to go, whether it's ask our upline or go to a carrier resource to find the answer. We have to put in that initiative. So from the beginning, this is how we can set that posture. And one last thing before I hop into Bitrix, because I wanted to put this in my slide and I didn't. For those of you that are building and getting interviews from us, some of you have wondered, you know, how do I know if they come from the Tipton agency or not? And while it doesn't matter, I know that sometimes it makes it easier because you're looking for resumes, right? And I know I've had some questions. If you guys go into your, so the interview link, this is just an option for some of you because I know you guys are looking different places for resumes. If you go to your interview Calendly event and you create a Calendly event just for the bullpen building, right? And in the description, you put just the first sentence as, we're excited to bring you on to the Tipton team, or something that's going to show you when it pops up on your calendar, this is a Tipton interview, then that will show you if you guys are looking for resumes, they are going to be in your Google Drive. So some of you have reached out for resumes. They should be in your Google Drive. Maricel has been very helpful with getting those to your folders quickly. So of course, if you can't find it, you can still reach out and ask me, but I want to make sure that you guys are just set up for working efficiently. So on that note, I know Trevor has some stuff that he wants to talk about in Bitrix. I was going to just do a brief little short overview, if that's okay with you. And I mean, very brief. So for those of you like Kristen, I know this is still very new to you, Seta. So if you guys are having more questions, wanting a more thorough interview, let's schedule another time to maybe do that. But right now, let's jump in. And I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second, guys. So I can make sure I'm in the right account. All right. So hopping into Bitrix. So a lot of times when you guys come into the platform, this is what it's going to look like. We like to come over here to Kanban. It makes it much easier to review this way. Okay. So just some basic locations of things, what things are. So this here is the pipeline and tunnels drop down. Okay. So we have different pipelines based on where they are in the recruiting process, as well as you guys are in here too. So you guys have been receiving the notifications, but in your commission level or levels of leadership process, right? So if we'll just start from the beginning. If I'm recruiting, if you guys have, let's say, people that are responding to your job post, there are ways that you can export those lists and then you can add them as contacts and invite them to interview. So you can use this function in order to invite them to your Calendly. So your Calendly link will be provided, right? This is the similar to how they're already populating on your calendar with our candidates, right? They're sent some information, told to review the videos, and then schedule a link if they're interested in speaking more. So that is what this pipeline is for. And you can see there is a not licensed and a licensed. This doesn't change anything in the automation. It is just to show us that they already have a license or if they do not. So then if you had somebody that ended up scheduling with you that you put into this pipeline, you can easily just drag them to scheduled interview. Now, when you drop them here, what's going to happen is they are going to get an automation saying, I've scheduled, I have you on my calendar for your scheduled interview. And it also gives them the phone number that you're going to be calling from. So I know some of you have been having a little more no-shows than others. And so this is something that will help. If you don't have something in place telling them what number you're calling from, it could make a big difference for you because they're going to be on the lookout. And this actually has not just a text message, but an email that goes to them as well. So you guys can kind of see what that looks like. And it tells them also to make sure that they have gone back and reviewed the information. The recruiting pipeline here is pretty straightforward. And so if you guys didn't catch that before you start a deal, and there are the scribes for those of you that are using Bittrex to be able to follow the steps, but you would create them as a contact and then you would start them as a deal wherever they need to be in this pipeline. So if you're recruiting them, they would go here, but maybe you've already had a conversation with them from the bullpen or from your own job postings. And so we'll start with unlicensed recruit. So each step of this process, they are told what they should be focusing on now and then what is their next step, right? So I know Keith was wondering about automations, and a lot of you have had questions about what's going to be sent to them. If you come over here, and I'm going to show you this, but do not change any automations, I will personally hunt you down and Trevor will be right behind me. These automations are what the whole system is built out on. And this is the stuff that when we talk about spending hundreds of hours on, this is why. So you can see this is full of automations, right? It takes them to a month out. And so what this is doing is you can actually just click right on the automation. I've got to move your window to see what's going to be sent to them. Okay. So this is sent saying, and you can see here, the first automation in the invite to team on unlicensed and licensed, there is a 10-minute delay. The reason being is because if you're on the phone with them, you guys just had this great conversation. Hey, I'm going to hire you and send you some information to get started. And then you immediately move them over. It obviously comes off a little computed. We want to be human. We want to give that 10-minute delay. So what it does, it generates them the Excel link, tells them exactly how to sign up for the course and get into Telegram. So then you're also receiving the notification, right, of this person just joined in the unlicensed pipeline. So there's a text to the upline that says so-and-so has been added. They received instructions and they were told to join Telegram. Be sure to shout them out. So you guys are going to be responsible for when you receive that message, making sure that this person is getting into Telegram and that you're shouting them out to the team. So any of the automations, Keith, going back to your question that you think that you want to look at, all you have to do is just click it open and then you can just exit out here. Okay. So
If you let me say this, if you drag these and or move these or do anything besides just look at them, right, you will see full Pioneer Trevor come out. Okay.
But
I'm
here's
just
I just want to say this too, is that if you guys make a mistake, because I know some people have told me like I haven't even wanted to click anything because I'm so scared to mess it up. Listen, we're here to help. So if you want to know or want us to show you how to get to something or answer a question, and especially if you think you have messed something up, please make us aware immediately because then we're able to get it fixed and avoid further issues.
all you can you let me finish?
Yes.
Thank you. Would you open that back up?
Automations. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. As long as you don't click save, you're good. But this is where I was going. You can also, if you grab this, you can accidentally move one, right? So don't ever grab them. All you have to do is click on it and open it. As long as you just always close out of this, right? Never hit save, just close out. You will totally be fine. Like there won't be any issues. You can't mess it up if that's all you ever do. And I actually am going to encourage you to go look at them and read them. Okay. Because it's going to be there. Here's the other thing you can do. While you're in our system, you can also make yourself a test deal. Make yourself a test deal and move yourself through the system. And then you'll see everything that's said and walk yourself through it, right? Take yourself, make yourself a test deal, have it come to you, and then you'll be like, okay, cool. This is what it says. I like how that works. Now I know that, right? Because you've already seen, you get a text and an email that says, hey, your agent just got told this, go talk to your agent, right? Your agent just got told this, go do this with your agent. Because we're trying to use this to also teach you how to build, right? But every stage has this many automations, and why we're so protective of this is the amount of work it's taken to have all those built and everything you've done. You have to understand, every one of those automations has taken customization, right?
Mhm.
So like each and every one at every level has been gone through. So
Multiple times.
yeah, multiple times. So just, right? But you're really going to learn by doing those two things. Open it up. You'll understand what it's going to say, but also and you don't have to wait, make yourself a test deal. But because this is where it's coming back to, don't drop your kids off. Okay. This isn't drop your kids off and you don't get to do anything. Okay. Bitrix isn't daycare, right? You got to make sure you're like, hey, checking in with them. Did they get their fingerprints done? Did they get their exam scheduled? Did they pass their exam? Right? Like in each level, it's to help them, right? Because, right, I want to make onboarding as easy as possible for everyone, right? Misty wants to make onboarding as easy as we can for everyone. It's why we built this so our systems are duplicatable. What's up, Keith?
So I don't know if y'all have planned on actually, as time goes, if something gets changed, like if y'all change something in there, are we gonna be notified of it? So we
Right
can
now.
kind of update?
Yeah, so right now I'm
Okay.
actually about to update you guys on something that has changed. So yes, we are going this system. So as you guys know, this is still very new. We obviously had the Bitrix account with the Summers, and then this is now maybe a month old. So we are still doing some tweaking to it, but the idea or the goal, right, is to have a system that stays the same for the most part, that we can follow and just go in and minimally tweak. But yes, anytime that there are changes, we're going to make you aware. So that's actually what I want to move into next, is one of those changes. So going back to the slide from earlier where I mentioned that nobody should be registering or starting the Summers registration, LMT, anything like that until they have done their application. It's been approved by home office. They've done their SureLC. They have E&O insurance. So they're ready to get started. So what we've done is we've actually taken that out of this pipeline of the recruiting stage. So once they become appointed, you'll now see the LMT. And this is kind of what I like to call this new symmetry agent. Is to me, it's almost like their LMT pipeline, right? We should get them moved through this in their week of LMT, aside from the first commission promotion. So now you can see here is the registered for Summers training site. So we're going to have these automations. They are actively being updated. But this is the change that I wanted to make you guys aware of. So now when they are newly appointed, the next thing that they're going to have to do is register for the Summer site and fill out that Google form. And then when we get those Google forms back, Maricel is going to forward them to you guys and Trevor. And then we're going to be able to see a list each week of, hey, here's the agents that are expected to be in LMT this week. So make sure that you guys are showing up for your agents. Trevor, anything you want to say on
Yeah.
this?
Oh, 100%.
Go ahead.
So, right, we all know, right, if you can get off to a fast start here, it's better for you. Okay. We can all agree, right? That's something we want to do. Okay. The whole goal, right, is when we move this into here is you can start moving forward, right? But we want to get you to, right, took out your first application, then they scheduled, right, their next meeting. What do you guys think, right? What do you think that scheduled game plan meeting is? What do you think that's for? This is participatory.
To know like what their goals are and how to, like, you need them to tell you what you need to do for them. Right.
Exactly. Great,
Okay.
right? Like I want to know, hey, you tell me you want to make $10,000 this month. Okay, well, what's your lead budget, right? How are we going to get your first appointment set, right? And then they get their first sale. Their first sale is your 80% commission line. So for those of you who are at 80, you'll notice you get your drips like, hey, here's your seasoned new agent. Here's your stuff, right? This is where they stay until they make it, until you go up to 85, right? You stay in there. Yeah, correct, Emily. We got some other training we'll have you do first. So there's steps for onboarding. You and I will talk about that. So, but yeah, because we got to create users that we have a whole thing for it. But where I'm going with this is, right, we want to get them appointed. We want to make sure they are signed up for LMT, right? But now when they come into LMT, right, you can on Wednesday, they're dialing, right? I want to be really clear about this, right? Unless you're in like, there's always going to be an exception to the rule. And I'm going to use Debria right now, who's here, right? She's in Arizona, California, a couple other states suck at getting their license. Okay. right? She's waited 2 weeks. It's probably going to be another week. California's the same way. If your agent lives in California, it's going to take just as long as Arizona, right? It's not like other states where they turn it around in 2 or 3 days, right? Terrible. So can they come through LMT and just watch? Yes. But here's the deal. We want agents when they're coming in on Wednesday to be prepared to be dialing, right? So when they set an appointment, they can make a sale, right? We can help them close it. It goes on there, right? If they don't have that stuff done, they can't. Okay. So again, this isn't like hard and fast, as in terms of, again, there's always going to be stuff that happens. So that way, right? Jaria's learning, she's getting through the training. So now she's gonna be like, okay, hey, I got a little more ahead of me. But some people might not have that, right? But if we just go shove them into things, okay, this system is set up. Like where this came from and what we're using it for is producing 115s in a year. Okay. Like if you follow this, you can get to 115 in a year, right? I would like to help everybody on this call get to that. Okay. Like I would love that. Nothing would make me happier. Okay. So as you go through, right, we're following this in there, but this is only as good as you choose to use it, right? It's just another tool, right? Is if you follow up and you choose to go there, how do they do it, right? Like, hey, now they got their first sale. It's talking to them, right? Because we want to encourage everyone, hey, let's get your first sale, right? Also, you have the commission levels, seasoned new agent, didn't make seasoned new agent, like those different type of things, right? So it's built, but like take advantage of like what we're doing so it can onboard. But yes, we're never gonna like just make updates and not tell anyone. Like we're right, just like this. This is one of the reasons we also meet once a week is, hey, this is what we're doing. And then my challenge is going to be to you guys is what are you doing to become better leaders? Right? What are you, right? What are you reading? What are you working on? Right? Like, what are you doing to become, the leader people are willing to follow? Right? Like, ask yourself that question. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you intaking? Right? Like, I met with someone yesterday and had a conversation with them, and they were telling me about time and things they were doing. And I say this, but I don't think anybody really looks at it. Take your phone out, go to settings, go to screen time, and then we can have a real conversation about how much time you have in a week. Okay. You probably have way more time than you realize. And it did for me. It straight offended me when I really went and looked at that, at how much time I was wasting not being productive. And I made a massive change, right? Like last year, I was like, oh, nope, this ain't working. Right. So just keep that in mind is right. Like we want to lead from the front. Right. And this is the way to do it. And it's going to push you. There's going to be days it hurts to grow. Right. Like, but you all have it in you to be able to do it. And take advantage. You can't get the number of applicants and systems we have for any better price than we're doing this for. It's just not physically possible. Okay. Like, don't go out and think, I got to hire this and I got to spend that. You're in business. I promise you, always keep your overhead as literally as low as you can ever keep it. So, all right. Mama T wants to finish up. I will let her finish.
Mama T, what? Anyway, I know. We talked, like Misty touched on it, Trevor just touched on it. For those of you who actually don't have much of a like monetary budget, remember your time is a budget item. Like your time is a budget. And it isn't just money. Like you have to budget your time. So what does that look like when you're budgeting your time? It means looking at your calendar, setting your blocks for dialing, setting your blocks for interviews. Also, before you even start building or before you start dialing for your new people, put in your non-negotiables. Like, do you have stuff during the week that you know for a fact that's a non-negotiable, whether it's like your family or your kids or stuff, like these are your items? Then put in, you already know what was suggested or recommended for the dialing time. Do you have time in that calendar to block off that time? Put that in. Put in like visually on the calendar what it looks like for you that week or every week going forward. Because what's going to happen when you start building is that you're going to need time to talk to people. And so you have to visually really think about it, because you could lose, if you don't live and die by your calendar and be structured with this, you will literally instantly invite chaos. And when you invite chaos, all of a sudden you're over your head, you feel frustrated, you feel very lost. And it's very easy to get lost in this, in like the whole symmetry and like with training, with everything. Just take a breath, plan it out. Look at yes, don't be the little piggy. Plan it out. Take your calendar out. Visually, for me, actually, once you see it visually, it can really put it in your head like, okay, this is what it looks like. It may look crazy, it may look insane. If you look at Trevor's calendar, I'm sure he posted like screenshots a few times. It looks insane, but he knows what's going on every single time. And he knows where his time is being spent. Yeah. Eventually that's a good thing. You may want to get there, but he has his blocks, right? He has the LMT that he goes to. And then I have to literally, for his sake, so people don't get on his calendar, if like for dinner tomorrow or today with Juanetta, that's blocked out. We have dinner next week Friday, and the week Friday out, he has it all blocked out. So just remember, if you don't have very much money, budget isn't only monetary. Your time is a budget. So budget your time. That's it.
Awesome, guys. Thank you, Mel. So yes, I want you guys to really take what we've said today on this call and apply it to your business.
Yeah, like, keep track of your agency, right? Like, but budgeting time is super important. So, well, let's go take a potty break. I'm excited for everybody, right? And remember, right, like block it out. Like, so what I do is, right, I do my interviews during the day. I make my calls and my dials with my clients in the evening, right? Like, we know the afternoons are the best times to call people, right? We know that 4 o'clock on, right, to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock is like just a way better time to do it, and get a hold of people. So, right, like that's where I block it out through there. And again, you have in the drives, like the Ivy League method on how to set that up. But again, I'm going to challenge each of you is, when you come to me, I ask you, what book are you reading? What are we talking about? Right. So, let's go have a great week. Enjoy the end of the call. There's 2 great guests coming on today. So leaderboards will be really quick. I just want to say this, and we'll talk about our team huddle on Monday. I am so proud of all of you for this last month. If I talk about it too much, I'll cry, and I don't want to cry this morning. So just know, like, I love you guys, and I really, really appreciate all of you. And I am thankful for everybody here. You make me want to be a better leader. So thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Hi,
Trevor.
everyone.
Let's go
Happy
keep kicking
Friday.
Summer's ass. Let's
Thank you,
go.
Misty,
We're
Paula.
thankful for you, Trevor and Misty and everybody, Mel, Paula, all of y'all. We're thankful for y'all.
Yeah.
We
Marcy-
love you guys. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Love you.